Hello everyone, my name is Contran. I am the Region 4 Treasurer, and this is an in-depth video about the 100 competitive events in finances and accounting. I will be covering the first 7 competitive events within this video, and Josie Russell, our secretary, will be covering the last 7. All information provided within these slides come directly from the 2021-2022 Workplace Skills Assessment Program Guidelines. We will be providing a brief description, eligibility, necessary supplies, areas of competency, and method of evaluation, entries, and length of events. For the first competitive event, Fundamental Accounting, student members are asked to analyze, journalize, post transactions, and prepare financial reports / statements in entry-level accounting principles. Eligibility is restricted to secondary division student members who have not completed their first year of accounting. This event may not be repeated, and members may not enter fundamental accounting and advanced accounting within the same year. Members must apply a number 2 pencil, pens, rulers, and a cordless calculator according to ACT testing standards. Method of evaluation is application and objective tests. Entries, each state is allowed 5, and the length of event is as follows: 10-minute orientation, a 90-minute test time, and 10-minute wrap-up. Please pause the video for the list of competencies. Here are the competencies extended list. Moving on to college accounting, student members are again asked to tested on their entry-level accounting principles, where they analyze, journalize, post transactions, and prepare financial reports / statements. Eligibility is, however, restricted to post-secondary division student members, and this event may not be repeated. Much like fundamental accounting, members may not enter college accounting and advanced college accounting within the same year. Members must apply the same amount of tools, a number 2 pencil, pens, rulers, and a cordless calculator, again following those ACT standards. The method of evaluation is application and objective testing. Each state is allowed 5 entries, and the length of event is a 10, 90, and 10 pattern. Please pause for the list of competencies. Here's the extended list of competencies for college accounting. Next up is advanced accounting. Student members are tested on intermediate and advanced accounting principles, where they analyze, journalize, and update accounts in order to prepare financial reports / statements for partnerships and corporations. Eligibility is restricted to secondary division student members. Members must apply, again, number 2 pencil, pens, rulers, cordless calculator. The method of evaluation is application and objective testing. Each state is allowed 5 entries, and it follows the 10, 90, 10 pattern. Please pause for the list of competencies. Moving on to advanced college accounting. Students are tested on interpretation and analysis of sole proprietorships, partnerships, and corporate financial accounting data. Eligibility is restricted to post-secondary division student members. Members must apply their own pencils, pens, rulers, and cordless calculator, which follows the ACT standards, and the method of evaluation is application and objective tests. Each state is allowed 5 entries, and it follows a 10-minute orientation, 90-minute test time, and 10-minute wrap-up. Please pause for the list of competencies for advanced college accounting. Here's the extended list for advanced college accounting. In this one, for payroll accounting, student members are tested to see if they can process payroll data using manual payroll procedures, calculate earnings, complete payroll registers, update employee records, journalize payroll entries and prepare payroll income tax forms. Eligibility is for both secondary and post-secondary student members. Members must apply pencils, pens, rulers, and a cordless calculator. Method of evaluation is again application and objective testing. Each state is allowed 5 entries at NLC, and the event differs because it has a 60-minute test time, still keeping within the 10-minute orientation and 10-minute wrap-up. Here are the list of competencies. Please pause. One important note for this competitive event is that Circular E-Employers Tax Guide Publication 15 is recommended as a resource. Next up is managerial accounting for post-secondary students. Has a focus on strategic decision-making related to cost analysis and cost management. Of course, only for post-secondary student members. Members must apply number 2 pencils, pens, rulers, cordless calculator, according to ACT standards. Application and objective testing is the method of evaluation. Each state is allowed 5 entries. It follows the 10-minute orientation, 90-minute test time, and 10-minute wrap-up procedure. And here are the list of competencies. Here they are, the extended list. Lastly, for the part 1, federal income tax accounting. Student members must demonstrate knowledge of the Internal Revenue Code as presented by the Department of Treasury. Students should refer to the 2020 tax code for this event. The ability to interpret the material available at www.irs.gov website for specific treatment of tax issues would be advised. Eligibility is restricted to post-secondary student members. Entries are allowed 5 per state. Here are the list of competencies. And for the supplies, they are the same. Number 2 pencil, pens, rulers, cordless calculators. Method of evaluation is again application and objective testing. The length of event follows the 10-90-10 procedure, and that is the extended list for areas of competency. Thank you for listening, and I will be passing it on to Josie.
Hi, my name is Josie Russell, and I'm Secretary for Region 4 Office, and I'll be explaining the second half of the 100 competitive events with finance and accounting. 145 is banking and finance. Banking and finance helps you demonstrate and apply fundamental knowledge of the banking industry. This entry-level event tests the members' knowledge of bank operations, bank services, loans, credit administrations, and customer service. Some of the competencies or skills that you can use is evaluate services provided by financial deposit institutions to transfer funds, and analyze the factors that affect the choice of credit, cost of credit, and legal aspects of using credit. Analyze the functions of commercial paper, security transactions, and bankruptcy. Identify the primary functions of banks and other financial institutions. Distinguish between banks and other financial institutions and the services provided by each. Identify basic rules and procedures for handling cash. Describe the FDIC rules in the banking role in the banking industry, and describe procedures for electronic banking. The eligibility for this event is any secondary or post-secondary division student may enter. The member must supply number 2 pencils, pens, rulers, cordless calculator, according to the ACT standards. The method of evaluation is applications and objective tests, and the length of the event is no more than 60 minutes testing times. More on the banking and finance, and more skills that you can use is define practices related to the use of checks and other negotiable instruments. Perform the steps needed to open, maintain, and reconcile a checking account. Describe types of loans and practices relating to obtaining a loan. Define and calculate interest. Define the advantages and the disadvantages of different saving and investing plans. Identify government regulations in banking and procedures for prevention of bank fraud and/or identity theft, and define the roles and purposes of the Federal Reserve. Finally, for the entries of banking and finance, each state is only allowed 5 entries. For 150 is financial analyst team. The team will use analytical problem-solving skills to make recommendations regarding a business case study. At state and national level, teams will be presented with additional element to the scenario that requires of their final presentation. Some of the skills you may use or competencies are apply GAAP, or General Accepted Accounting Principles, to determine the value of assets, liabilities, and owner equity. Prepare, interpret, and analyze financial statements for service, merchandising, and manufacturing businesses. Use planning and control principles to evaluate the performance of an organization and apply differential analysis and present value concepts to make decisions. And other skills that you see on the screen. The eligibility is any secondary or post-secondary student member can enter. A student or team will consist of 2 to 4 members. At least one member should have an accounting background. And more so on the eligibility, at least one member should have an accounting background, and members participating in the national level competition must be registered to the event prior to a mission deadline for technical judging. The team must supply pencil/pens, computers, presentation device, projecting equipment, prepare posters, graphs, easel, a poster board, and or flip charts and markers. But most of those things are optionals for this event. The method of evaluation is judge scoring rubric. The length of the event is no more than 5 minutes. Proctor orientations for state and national levels. No more than 30 minutes preparation time for state and national levels. No more than 3 minutes setup in the presentation room, and no more than 10 minutes for each of the presentation time and judges' questions. Finals may be required at state and national levels. And you can see more of the competencies on the right side. And the entries is each state is allowed only 2 entries. For 155 is the economic research individual. One economic research is selected by the National Center and provided at the beginning of the school year. The member will conduct research on the topic and present findings in a research paper or oral presentation in response to questions from a panel of judges. Some of the competencies that are shown on the screen are demonstrate knowledge and understanding of the basic economic concepts by exploring and analyzing global and domestic economic issues. Evaluate research and communicate findings both orally and in writing. Explore basic economic concepts that affect the workplace. Identify economic systems. Explain how economic growth can be promoted and measured. Conduct research using various resources and methods, and analyze economic issues. The eligibility for this event is any secondary division student can enter. Each member can submit only one research paper. The topic for this event is compare and contrast the economic recovery from the past recessions to the coronavirus recession, focusing on the federal government's responses. Review the national economic indicators to assess the effectiveness of the economic policies enacted. Do you agree or disagree with the use of each of the policies you discuss? Some of the hold on for a second. Some of the specifications for this event that are not seen on the screen is that this is a pre-submitted event, and you should see instructions for submissions, and you should submit the research paper and works cited in a combined PDF file, and it is due no later than 11:59 on Eastern Time on April 1st, 2022. And those are some of the most important specifications for the economic research individual. More so on that event, the entries is that each state is allowed only 3 entries. The length of the event is no more than 3 minutes to set up, no more than 7 minutes to present, no more than 5 minutes for judges' questions. The finals may be included at state and national levels. The member must supply notes or notes card for oral presentation, presentation device, presentation software, sound cards, external speakers, projection systems, digital presentations, tools, and no internet access will be provided on site at NLC. However, members may provide their own access to be used only for their presentation to the judges. And most of the supplies that are seen on the screen are optional. Method of evaluation is technical scoring rubric and a presentation scoring rubric. Now on to the next event, economic research team. One economic research is selected by the National Center and will be provided at the beginning of the school year. The team will conduct research on the topic and present findings in the research paper, or oral presentation, and respond to questions from a panel of judges. And for the economic research team, it's kind of like the research individual, but you're working with more people to get that paper done. The eligibility is only secondary division student members are allowed to participate, and they may enter this team event. A team will consist of 2 to 4 members, and each team may submit only one research paper they worked on together. And for the topic for this event, it's research the causes of the current inflations in the U.S. Compare current inflations to periods of inflation in the past. How is the current rate of inflations affecting the economic recovery for the coronavirus recession? What has the federal government done to attempt to slow the increase of inflation, and how effective it has been? Some of the skills that you can use is demonstrate knowledge and understanding of basic economic concepts by exploring and analyzing global and domestic economic issues. Evaluate, research, and communicate findings both orally and in writing, and explore basic economics concepts and affect the workplace. And there are the other skills you can see. And more on the team is that each state is only allowed 2 entries, and the rubrics that the judges might use is technical scoring rubric and presentation scoring rubric. And just as the research individual, these are the same things that you can use for economic research team. And the only difference is the length of time for each setup, the presentation, and judges' questions are shorter. So you only have no more than 5 minutes for judges' questions. And you only have 7 minutes for presentation time and 3 minutes for setup time. 165 is personal financial management. Any secondary and post-secondary division student can enter, and like other events in the finance and accounting, members must supply number 2 pencil, pens, ruler, and a cordless calculator. Description for this is members will answer objective questions dealing with concepts and perform calculations related to the financial topics of credit, saving, budgeting, investing, personal income tax, retirement planning, risk management, and insurance. Members will analyze financial scenarios, predict outcomes, advise use of financial instruments, and determine the proper financial planning. Some of the skills that you can use for this event is identify government agencies charged with regulation, financial institutions, and investments, and explain their role in doing so. Identify the terms, costs, and regulations of credit. Calculate interest on loans using both simple and compound methods, and explain concepts related to personal income. And you can see more of those on the bottom, excluding with the cost of bankruptcy and comparing different types of retirement plans. The length of the event is just like every other event on this slide, no more than 60 minutes testing time. Entries is each day is only allowed 5 entries, and the method of evaluation is with application and objective tests. You have more of the competencies on the right side, and the most important ones there can be identified the 4 major types of insurance most people have during their lives. It lists examples of events for which visuals will self-insure. So those are some of the skills that you can use with the list examples of events for which individuals self-insure, and all the other ones you can see. For the next event is financial audit, and it's pilot. So for eligibility, only post-secondary students can apply to this. You can enter this contest, and this event may be repeated. So competitors will conduct analysis of a case study that highlights an issue discovered during a financial audit and prepare a recommendation based on general accepted audit standards. Members must supply number 2 pencils, pens, calculators, and general accepted audit standards. And for those that may not know what audit means, for audit, I can help you with that. An audit is an official inspection of an individual's or organization's account, typically by an independent body, or a systematic review or assessment of something. So it's basically a financial examination, to have that more in clear so you can help you get into this event. The method of evaluations is judge scoring rubric. Each state is only allowed 3 entries, and some of the skills that you have to use for this event is demonstrate effective communication skills, describe, assess, and demonstrate standards and procedures which should be followed in an audit, demonstrate understanding of proper internal control procedures, model ethical and legal conduct while working in the insurance industry, demonstrate actions that comply with generally accepted auditing standards, and describe and apply technical knowledge and skills required in the insurance area. And for the length of events, no more than 20 minutes. Preparation times, no more than 3, and no more than 5 minutes for oral presentation. no more than 3 minutes judging questions, and finals may be included at state national levels. Okay. Finally, the last event for this is the financial math and analysis concepts. It's an open event, so anybody can enter this event, including secondary and post-secondary division students. This competition assesses knowledge in math concepts. Members solve practical math problems related to work and consumer issues. Members will supply number two pencils, as usual, pen, and cordless calculator. The method of evaluation is the objective test, and the length of test is no more than 60 minutes testing time, and the entries is unlimited. So you can have as many people enter this contest from all the states. Some of the skills that you have to show is demonstrate knowledge of business and financial math concepts and solve related problems. Read and interpret graphs and charts and to solve problems. Perform financial computations related to payroll, interest, invoicing. And one of the final ones on this list is perform computations related to depreciation and inventories. So that is the second half of the 100 competitive events for finances and accounting, and I hope you guys learn more about what you want to do for the competitions, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Thank you.